That's great. I think that might be a great place to toss it over to Don.
As you experience them as a parish priest.
Armenian Church now, the biggest challenge this new millennium, this new year, is for the Armenian Church now to move beyond survivalism. For the last 80 years, our focus as an Armenian Church is how do we keep the doors open? Our new challenge is now that the doors are open, how do we get people in? How do we make this a viable option in their lives? Okay, they have so many, especially here in America, with the immigrant base that we have as an Armenian Church, people who are coming. They have so many options. They have so many, not only religious, but secular options too. How do you get them to opt for the Armenian Church as something important in their lives? And the only way I think the only way that you can achieve that is to make it a reality in their lives. If it's going to be outside of their lives, not talking to their lives, you're going to lose them, because what use is there? It's some ceremonial function, and you can do that a few times a year, but it's not going to be on a daily basis. I think that's the number one challenge, is how do you get people in through those doors that you've kept open.
Here in Pasadena, there clearly are a number of different Armenian churches. Protestant, evangelical, charismatic, and so forth. How do you look at these groups that at one level might be perceived as stealing your sheep?
Yeah, I like the metaphor of stealing the sheep, but unless you don't let go, you can't really say that. It's like the guy, if you leave your door open and the guy comes and takes something, yeah, he did steal from you, but you weren't really a good guard for that sheep in the first place. And I think we have to take an inward look as an Armenian Church and realize that as a church we're letting people go, primarily because we don't have the manpower, we don't have the resources, which many of the evangelical, let's say these other churches that you described, also have the resources, non-Armenian money coming into it to take the people. But for me, it's a challenge, and it's a challenge to get people to understand that as Armenians, there's been only one institution that has kept us to this point. That has been the Armenian Church. These other groups, these are phenomena of the last 150 years. Some of them rightly placed as protest, in the Protestant idea, as protests against where the Armenian Church was at that point. But at this point where you have an Armenian Church which is open to many of the protests that they had, in other words, to rectify these situations, I think as Armenians it behooves us to get behind one organization, one institution. But of course, there's so many different factors. It's not, if it was clearly on faith, it was only on faith, I think that right now everyone would be behind the Armenian Church because it is this one institution. But beyond the faith, there's also political issues, there's issues of ownership and property and real estate and every secular thing you can imagine. Back to your question, how do I see these other groups, these other churches or denominations? I think that they certainly have a right. I don't believe in legislating morality or legislating religion. You can't do anything about it. You can't be the religion cop and say that all Armenians should go here. I think the only thing you can do is take advantage of that challenge over there and make your programs pleasing so that they come to you. But it's an upward hill. It's an upward battle. We don't have the resources. We don't have the money.
Is there any sense in which this competition actually forces reform and change within the apostolic tradition?
It can if the people understood it in the way that I'm explaining. But I don't feel like our bishops, I don't feel our hierarchy is understanding it in this sense. They see it as a threat. They see it as somebody, just as you described it, the sheep that are being taken without taking that next step and saying, yes, but we're leaving our door open. We're also leaving, giving an opportunity for those sheep to be stolen. Right? It's like taking your bicycle and not putting the lock on it, or not locking your door, not closing your window. We're allowing these things to happen. And the only solution for it is to be strong in your faith, to be strong in your commitment, to give the sheep what they want, which is basic spirituality. They are a child of God, God loves them, and everything's going to be okay. Bottom line.
Right now, there's a shortage of priests to service the large number of Armenians who have come as immigrants or have been born here. Why does that shortage exist?
Many reasons. First of all, the church has not actively been able to produce these because of communism. Say up until 1990-91, the seminary in Armenia had its hands tied. Right now, you're seeing that after independence, you're seeing not only the seminary in Etchmiadzin, the seminary in Sevan, and there's one in Karabakh that is all starting, people that are starting to tune and saying that the church is something worthy of our service. And it is growing, it's happening. I think communism was one point. The other thing, I think economically, I think you have an immigrant generation after the massacres, after the genocide, parents who wanted to see their children in a better situation. Economically, it was not right for them to become priests. A priest is on the bottom rung of that economic scale. So given the option right now to become a priest, you need 8 years of schooling, plus on top of that seminary work, talking of 10 years. For 10 years, they could certainly go to school and come out of it economically much better, a million times better than what a priest is. And I think that plays into it too. So until we can start changing those perceptions of what a priest is, not only among the parents, but among the people, the church leadership, to start offering better salaries for the priest, so that this becomes one of the options, so that the priest is one of the options along with an engineer, architect, teacher, or artist, or whatever it is. You also can become a priest. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Certainly, part of it is calling, but the other part is you have to be able to put food on your family's table.